to Adventures in Lollygagging. We're back tonight. We're playing more Swords of the Serpentine. We are continuing our Tides That Bind campaign. Our Saltbound arc is how I'm organizing it on the YouTube. And yeah, we're in a little bit of a pickle as there's a lot of stuff has boiled up. We were in the seething fen, and we were aboard a ship. And all hell has kind of broken loose, and we'll see if we can break a little bit more hell loose. And we'll also get to see, I don't know, maybe tonight, I think Vincent's going to either give some sorcerers a rose, or it's going to give his family his rose. You know, I mean, I don't know who it's going to be. So do you have your rose ready to give? Long, did you bring that?
Yeah, it's in the form of sorcery spells.
You're just going to cast, you're going to cast spells. Okay. All right. Well, we are in a pickle. We're going to dive right in because this could go a lot of different ways, and I'm really excited to see how this shakes out. So, last session, we were in this swamp. Vincent, you joined Ludovica and some others who were traveling across the swamp from their sorcerer ship to meet with these pirates. The pirates have assassinated some of your family and stole your matriarch. You boarded a ship called the Brine Maiden. You met their captain, Captain Marr, and a couple others, and then you were led below to speak and calm down your matriarch. You met her. She was fairly clear-headed, which was kind of surprising, and she was begging you for help, but you refused. You were like, "You abandoned me. Why?" Et cetera, et cetera. So it was a very sad little moment as you let an old lady. You left her to die, and then you left. Meanwhile, the rest of the family, you had acquired a boat and some crossbows, and based upon some information that you got from interrogating Henrietta or Etta, you kind of knew about where to find what was going down here in this fen. And Arkadiy, you managed to snipe the lookout in the crow's nest. Chauncey, you hit something. I don't know what, but it was something. And then you four climbed onto this ship. You're undetected. There's some sorcerers and such. There's some crew, but you managed to sneak in here. Solavita, Chauncey, you snuck into this headmaster's chambers. You didn't necessarily know that's what it was called, but that's what we know it as from our point of view with Vincent. And then Arkadiy and Fortuna, you went below. And there were all, again, sorcerers, bodyguards, crew, etc. None of them really seemed to pay too much attention. They were everyone's sort of watching the swamp. They're worried about Shugat, who are potentially looking at the ship itself. And below deck, Fortuna, Arkadiy, you discovered that the interior of their ship seemed strangely larger than it should be. You also found Vincent's journal, which hinted at maybe a little bit of his mental state. And then you broke into a locked room that triggered some kind of spell. And then a dozen wax simulacrums of Ludovica animated and started to lumber towards you. Fortuna, you did an awesome flashback to get this special lock that prevented them from just coming right at you, and they had to melt down and start to seep underneath the door. And that's when Arkadiy also did a flashback, threw an alchemical bomb, blew up the door, blew up the deck, and everything kind of went crazy at that point. In the headmaster's cabin, Solavita, Chauncey, you opened this chain coffin, and inside you found a charred corpse. However, the corpse immediately animated and started launching beams of fire from its eyes. You struggled a bit. The door to the cabin opened, and that's where we saw another sorcerer, Vincent's kind of friend, not that you guys knew this, appeared. Started kind of casting some spells and such. Chauncey, you were able to convince or confuse the headmaster enough into attacking this other sorcerer, which they did. Just burnt him to a crisp. And then we ended with Ludovica, who had felt something. She kind of felt pain of some kind over on the Brine Maiden. And so she and some of the others, including this air mage that was able to move the ship faster, you all hurried over, and you found a chaotic fight had broken out on the deck of this last college ship. And so that is where we are going to pick up. I put together for the players a small map just to sort of get us, because there's a lot going on, so that they can kind of get a feel for just how much freaking trouble this is. So right now, just to get everyone an idea of where we're at, starting from the stern inside the headmaster's cabin, is Chauncey and Solavita. Standing in the doorway and working their way out from there is the headmaster, who has just charred this other sorcerer. The sorcerer's bodyguard is just a few steps away from him on the same deck as the headmaster. The deck below, we see Fortuna and Arkadiy have just come out from below deck. A few of the crew have run past based on Fortuna's command. On this deck, there is a sorceress woman who has been casting spears. Essentially, she kind of like levitated a goblet, turned it into a spear, and shot it at you. And also, it looks like her bodyguard coming up from the starboard side of the ship, where the skiff had come up from deeper in the swamp. We can see Vincent has just thrown his chains and pulled himself up to the deck. We see another sorcerer has levitated their way up to the deck. Ludovica remains in that skiff with one of her bodyguards. And then at the bow of the ship, all the way towards the front, there is another sorcerer and their bodyguard. There is a giant hole in the deck as well, where the alchemical bomb exploded from below. And that is where we're at. Plus, there's like crew kind of scattered about here and there. That's what we should talk about as well. We're in combat. There's so much going on. We're just going to start fresh, brand new round. And I'm going to say, Vincent, you get to start us off. So Vincent, you climb up, you look out, you see Arkadiy, you see Fortuna, you see this charred corpse coming out. And you can see like laser beams cutting through lines, cutting through mass. And you can see there's just utter chaos happening. You see one of your sorceress friends that you had recently met is firing these metallic spears at Arkadiy and Fortuna as they're like kind of ducking and weaving and trying to avoid damage. Vincent, what would you like to do?
When I lay on the deck, I was fully prepared to like attack Chugats, thinking we were like under attack. So when I see Arkadiy, Fortuna, the hesitation comes over me. Why are they here? So I'm assessing the danger, what's kind of happening on the ship. And after seeing the headmaster, or what I assume the threat that's on the boat, probably just shout out to Fortuna and Arkadiy, you shouldn't be here. Just tell them to leave.
Okay. Is there any action that you would wish to take? Because that is free. Like
sure.
Yelling and telling them to leave is totally free. Is there something you would want to do? And I think you're smart enough to realize that the door that charred corpse who is throwing fire around, a lot of it coming from their eyes, is the door that you had peeked in. If you recall, there's a little window that you peeked in. That is where they're standing. I would say you don't see Chauncey, you don't see Solavita, and you probably don't see your burnt to a crisp friend from where you're standing.
Spend the round creating a protective ward for now.
Okay. All right. So you can do a protective ward. Are you going to try to just do it for yourself? You just go
just for
pull that up again. Okay. So I don't think we've done these things before. So let's just go through it really fast. So this is a forgotten lore spend. It can grant it on your turn. You make the spend. The number of points spent determines who you ward and how many uses the ward has. Uses are shared by all who are warded. Each use halves damage from a single source of health or morale damage. So how many are you spending?
I just have the one I'll spend.
Okay, so that's going to give you yourself or one other person, so you gain one use of this. So you'll be able to trigger that as a reaction essentially to taking damage from one attack. And you can have that damage. Okay.
And I'll pass the action to Arkadiy.
Okay, Arkadiy. What would you like to do?
Vincent, dear cousin, it's so good to see you. Run, get off the boat. We're under attack. Help Fortuna. She is the future of the family, not a crazy old woman. And then, so the bodyguard was attacking Fortuna. So, like, are we like
the one? Yeah. So he's close enough. Like I said, like the guy right, and there is one of them that came up. So like the crew ran past you, but the bodyguard of this spear throwing mage did close in on the two of you and essentially started kind of getting into fight. And you and Fortuna were close enough to each other.
Okay. I mean, can Fortuna get away from him even though he's engaged with her?
Yeah. I mean, there's not really like I would say like opportunity attacks per se.
I didn't really see anything like that in the rules.
Yeah. So, but yeah, she could potentially. It doesn't mean he couldn't follow her, of course, but yeah.
Okay.
And also depends on who goes next.
So, Arkadiy would then run. No, he wouldn't. He's going to charge the sorcerer who's been trying to kill him because he's trying to sow some discord.
Okay.
And is going to attack this sorcerer.
So you slip past the bodyguard that's swinging at Fortuna. You can close the distance, and you're right up next to her. As you can see, she's already taking some bit of metal, like a bangle she was wearing, and you can see she's already kind of dragging you out to throw another. So
Arkadiy he's injured, and he's concerned that he's not going to get past this fight. So he's focused on causing enough of a distraction so Fortuna can escape. So, So I think, hear me out here. See if you're okay with this.
Okay.
I want to do my intimidation spin to get a +3 on this roll, but I think it's he's running up. He's a fairly terrifying looking guy. I think it would try and put her on her back foot as he attacks.
I think that's fair for sure.
My goodness.
Okay.
And I've got 4 warfare left, so I'm going to go ahead and spend that too to give me a total of a +7. I'm hunting for a crit.
Okay. All right.
So it's a 10 in total.
10 total will get you that crit. She's got a threshold of only 4, so that's 6 over. So that's a crit. Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So 2d6 + 1, and the first die has to be a minimum of a 4.
Okay.
Fuck. So 6. 6 in total.
No.
But it does bypass 2 points of armor if she has armor.
Okay. She does. You can see that she has some sort of like magical like aura. As you get closer, you can see like on her skin, there's some kind of coloring over top of her. But I still think mechanically speaking, it's still going to bypass it. So it was 6 total, you said, right? All right.
Correct.
That is not enough to do her in.
Of course
but
not.
You can
it's such a shitty roll.
Her eyes go wide, and you can tell like at first she's scared, but then you start to notice that the bangle that she had turned like almost liquidy begins to shape over top of her arms, and you see her arms are kind of to shift in shape as well. Who goes next, Arkadiy?
Arkadiy glances back at Fortuna and just says, "Fortuna, you must get away." And he gives it to Fortuna.
Okay. Fortuna, you've got this big old bodyguard in front of you with a sword swinging at you. You see Arkadiy just went toe to toe with one of these sorcerers. Vincent has come up, has abstained for now. What would you like to do?
I think Fortuna is sort of looking at Vincent, and she has that sour look that she sort of always has on her face. I do not understand what you are doing. We must go. And Fortuna is going to run towards the boat that is on the skiff that we have that's on the port side of the boat. So that is her.
Okay, so running is not an issue. Are you looking to essentially kind of climb down at the same time? Are you trying to climb down swiftly, or what do you think? What are you attempting to do here?
Yeah, I'm. Yes, she wants to get out of possible laser sight, whatever the hell is going on towards the stern of this boat.
Okay, so if you're trying to climb down quickly down the side of it, you didn't have like a ladder or a rope or anything that you guys were just doing handholds and footholds, and now you're doing it with a certain amount of expediency. So I'm going to say give us an athletics check to try to climb down without falling. I'm going to set the difficulty at 5, however, but you are, again, as always, welcome to make spends to boost that roll.
I am trying to finagle what I can do with this because I need to spend something because I've got nothing in athletics.
Okay. Well, look at your investigative abilities. What do you have points left in?
I've got command, liar's tale, nobility, laws and traditions, city secrets.
Okay.
And spot frailty, which is people, not things. So, I am.
Did you have to pick that people, not things? Did you have to do that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think and you said it's people specifically that you see the frailty in, not
Yes.
like inanimate. Okay.
Yeah, because it helps with like
okay.
morale attacks and stuff.
You could spend a laws and traditions point, and you could say that it is a law that any ship that is in the harbor of Sag Harbor has to have certain types of like ladders built into the side of their boats, because it's, you know, on the off chance something floods, or if somebody is like drowning, or if someone gets kind of flushed out from a canal, you can just kind of create something like that, and then we can make that case.
I'm happy to do that. That was one I had overlooked, as I couldn't possibly BS my way through that one working, but there was a way. So I will
absolutely
take that spend for then the +3.
That gives you a +3 on this roll. So a D6 +3, you need a 5.
I got exactly a 5.
Nailed it. That's a 5.
2.
I will say then on your turn, you come up to the edge, you leap over, and you're able to climb down without falling and breaking your neck. Okay. Fortuna, who's going to go next?
Oh dear.
You're the headmaster. It's so chaos.
No. That seems like a horrible idea.
No.
That's a great idea.
I mean, Kipster's a chaos goblin, so like this is basically truly life goals. This guy. Right?
We definitely don't want the bad guy to get to go twice in a row. That would be bad.
And also, what he does and how much damage he does will help me decide what I'm going to do, if you will.
Interesting.
Oh, okay.
Trust in the chaos, Melissa.
I don't trust the chaos.
The chaos.
No. I'm gonna say so. Both Chauncey and Solovita still have to go, right?
Everybody has gone. The only people who have gone are Vincent, Arkadiy, and Fortuna.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to say Chauncey should go, and then Chauncey can decide to pass it to big bad guy.
Oh, see, it's different for him though. Is that it's going to be the last
I actually
person,
really wanted him to go before me. I very badly.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Sorry.
It's your choice.
No, I'll go to Solovita. Like that was sort of where I was. I'll say Solovita first.
She's so afraid of chaos. This is so afraid of chaos.
I this is
all right.
Not what Fortuna
all right. So this is going to put me in the line of fire. But what I am then going to do is, literally. I'm going to have to. Arkadiy has 1 health right now. Arkadiy, how much is your max HP generally?
How
10.
much? We didn't hear that.
10. Okay.
10.
No, I was just waiting for him to unmute. I recognize that facial look. Okay, so then I'm going to have to run in front of the headmaster towards Arkadiy. And I'm going to run past the bodyguard potentially as well. Yeah. And I'm going to spend all 4 of my bind wounds to get Arkadiy up to 9.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
All right. So you go racing out. The headmaster is like scanning around. You can see these
so I want him to go first.
Of fire, cutting everything left and right.
Yep.
You rush behind them, leap over top of that charred corpse, down the stairs. The bodyguard is like you just miss Fortuna. Maybe you smell her perfume, but you don't see necessarily Fortuna, as you can see this bodyguard is like almost gets distracted as they see you whizzing by, and you're able to get right up to Arkadiy. Okay.
And I'm just gonna like start pulling out the bandages. Maybe I've got like the Resident Evil 4 spray can that's just like
yeah.
And then I'm gonna try to duck down. Like I don't have the actions for it, but I'll make myself a smaller target as much as I can.
Okay. And who's going next?
The headmaster.
Okay. All right. So I get to go next with the headmaster. So I have a system for the headmaster where I'm rolling randomly to see who he targets based upon how many people he can hit at once. So if there's some groups he could target. So, okay. All right. So that's port side. Okay. So Solovita, you did just put yourself in the line of fire. So the headmaster, as you can see, flame
it was
is
the only
going
way
left
to keep
and right.
alive.
We'll die together.
You can
at least.
Cheers.
You would notice, both of you, Solovita, Arkadiy, and Vincent, you would see this as well. Chauncey, I'm not sure how much you would see, but not just from his eyes now. You can see, like, from his body, remember, it's a charred corpse, but when he was walking, he was emitting, like, flames that were burning the deck, and he's continuing to do so. But, like, in between the seams of where the charred flesh is on his body, you can see this kind of glowing fire begin to form, and he's just going to shoot out from it all of these, almost like these like little missiles that weave around this huge bit of it. And I am going to spend some points, and I'm going to enact some corruption.
Oh yeah.
And I'm going to tap into spell casting. Okay. So I am going to be targeting the bottom. I'm targeting like the bottom side, the port side, and I'm going to be targeting Solovita. So it is Solovita. Okay. And let me see how many points he has left, because I did use some last week. Okay, so I'm going to use some malice from him to boost his roll. And corruption with them is a little different. Like, I have a spell casting talent, which works basically like corruption. Each sorcerer has like a limited amount of times that they can tap into it, but I've got plenty with him. All right, here we go. So this is targeting Solovita. All right, Solovita, that is a 9 on the die. What's your health threshold?
My health threshold is 3. Even if I spend, it's only going to bring it up to a 6, but it would reduce the damage, right?
If you bring your threshold up, it's not going to. The only thing it would do would be I wouldn't crit you, because if your threshold's higher, I'm not 5 over.
Can I spend a point of city secrets because I found a really good piece of wood to hide behind?
Yeah, to get +3 to your health threshold. Yeah, absolutely.
I understand the architecture of yes.
Absolutely. Okay, so if that's the case, then if I don't crit you,
yes,
I am +3. So I am going to I'm going to then basically get the effects of corruption here and do a little bit of an AOE. And so this is either going to be on that sorcerer or it's going to be on Arkadiy. It's going to be on the sorcerer. So this one's hitting Solovita and Flavia. So like you see like this barrage of these like fire missiles just leaping out of him, and they rain down. They hit Solovita. They hit this sorcerer Flavia, and Solovita. You take 8 points of damage.
Brings me to -3.
Okay, so we'll talk about it in a second. The sorcerer is going to take 10 points of damage, which means she's going to go into the 0, exactly to 0. Okay. So Levita, if you're in negative, are you in negative for the first time? Okay, yes. So you got to do your health roll to see if you keep consciousness.
Yes. And I
remember you can do spends as well as per usual on this.
Oh, I was going to do stuff. Okay, I will. Man, I really wanted to keep my investigation points.
What are you at? You're at -3, you said?
Yes.
So you could conceivably go to -5 health. You could spend 2 health points to go down to -5, still stay within that first range increment, and you get a +2 on your roll. And you need to hit a 4.
Okay, I'll take the gamble this time. I'm going to do a +2 to my roll and bring my health down. And then let me see here. That is a 4 + 2 for 6.
Okay, you keep your consciousness, but you just
Not
get
good.
rained down with fire. Yeah. And Flavia Lady is literally at 0. Does she have a ward up? I don't think so. She might have a ward. Is she warded? Some of these people are warded. So warded is another thing that they can basically do. And it reduces... No, that's not going to apply here. So yeah, you're going to see this woman collapse onto... I'm not going to say she's dead, but I'm going to say she collapses to the deck. Okay. All right. So then, after the headmaster's turn, let's see. I'm going to start doing some things with bodyguards. I'm going to have one of the bodyguards close in and begin swinging on him. And missing. I rolled a 1. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to have the other bodyguard that was chasing Fortuna is going to come to the edge. And he's going to see Fortuna down below. And I'm going to see if he can essentially do the same thing you did and follow you down into the skiff.
The ladder is there for him as well.
Exactly. So he does. He can't swing at you or anything like that, but you do get followed down at this point. Okay. Then I'm going to have... Oh, geez. Next up is going to be the air mage that was near Vincent. I think he is going to probably see that the bigger danger currently is the headmaster is free. So he's going to get a little higher up. And then I'm going to spend some malice, and he's going to attempt to essentially, one of his spheres is essentially like air and such. So I'm going to have him kind of mess around with the smoke in here, and he's going to create this kind of smoke screen kind of covering over top of the headmaster. So let me see. Okay, so yeah, he succeeds at his sorcery. So there is essentially on the stern side, on the upper decks, like all of the smoke on the deck has now been shifted, and you see the breeze kind of whirling it around to the point where the headmaster is almost no longer visible. Chauncey, you can even see inside of this headmaster's chamber, a lot of the smoke has started to funnel in, and you have to kind of cough a bit as it is in fact smoke. Then I'm going to have Ludovica's bodyguard is going to climb, and so she's next to Vincent, having effectively climbed up the deck. I'm going to have the sorcerer who is towards the bow. I'm going to have her bodyguard is going to race in towards Arkadiy. And seeing that one of the mages has fallen, is going to take a swing at Arkadiy. And I'm going to spend a couple points for a bonus for him. It's a 6 to hit Arkadiy. And then damage-wise, I will spend for extra damage to get an extra die. That's a shitty roll. That is going to be 7 points of damage to Arkadiy.
And it -1 for armor for a total of 6.
Okay. Are you still in the positive?
Yep, I've got 3. Thanks to Solavita and her sacrifice.
Okay. Now I still have Ludovica and the mage towards the stern, but I'm going to give it to Chauncey first. Because I might want to do double things with them. So Chauncey, it comes back to you. This room is filled with smoke. You can't see anybody anymore. All you hear is chaos and death outside. What would you like to do?
I mean, definitely getting out of the cabin is the first thing. I suppose it's a little bit of a toss-up of whether or not I can see the boat over to the side. Like, I kind of knew where it was.
You knew where it was. I would also say you would know there is a boarded up window in this room.
Okay. Yeah, I don't feel like I'm punching my way through a window. Can I feel the heat from the dude? Like, is he right at the doorway? Like, I'm going to burn myself.
There's a lot. I mean, like, the smoke is surrounding you, so you're coughing. You're feeling the heat just from that. But I would say you can hear the sounds and occasionally see, like, the glimpse of that bright yellow orange fire that emits from him. So you know he's right out in front of the door.
Yeah. Who am I kidding? Like, he's too much of a coward to go out through the front door and risk getting burned. So he is going to try his best to get through that boarded up window.
I would say athletics test is going to make sense. I'm going to up the difficulty just because it's hard to see. And you know what I mean? So I'm going to say it's going to be, instead of a normal 4, we're going to bump it to a 5.
All right. I've only got 1 point of athletics left. I may as well spend it.
Okay.
You have ridiculous luck left?
No. No,
You
if it
didn't
was a
need
regular
it.
check, I would have been fine. But that bump
Okay.
made me lose.
So here is the choice I'll give you, Chauncey.
Okay.
Either we can decide on this outcome. So it's a failure, but it doesn't necessarily mean you don't break the window. I'm gonna say one or two things could potentially happen. You break the window so well that you accidentally fall out of it and you land into the swamp water below. Or you break through the window, but it takes so long that's the end of your turn. You're still inside of this smoky, higher like temperature increasing room, and you hear the sounds of the fire behind you.
I think going with somebody who a lot of the characters based off ridiculous, like I think falling into the swamp feels more in line for the character.
You smash through, but maybe you timed it with the force of an explosion out by the front door, and that just a little bit goes a little too much, and you just find yourself breaking through, and you fall down, and you splash into this sickening, hideous water that is filled, you would know, with all sorts of things that want to strangle you and eat you.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, who would you like to go next, Chauncey? Do you want it to be Ludovica, or do you want it to be Polonia?
I mean, honestly, let's go with Ludovica. That just seems fun.
Okay. So Ludovica still has to get up. She does have a transportation ability, but that seems ridiculous to use it for this. That seems utterly ridiculous, which is why she's exactly going to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and roll.
That was the end to that sentence.
Some of her malice. And I'm going to have her essentially below you, Vincent. You see the air in front of her just begin to shimmer, and this sort of way that it almost looks like you're looking at a dream. And you can see she's moving her hands a little bit. She's speaking some sort of language that I think your specific magic doesn't come from Serpentine, right, Vincent? Yours comes from ghosts, right?
Correct.
The dead. Okay, so you probably wouldn't recognize it. Solovita, you probably would. And so I'm going to roll that sorcery test. It succeeds. And so you see her, as you look back down, you see her just kind of step right into this shimmery bit of air and materialize on the bow of the boat up by Polonia, effectively. So you can see that she has made it up. Everyone finds their own way up. Then it's going to be Polonia's turn. She sees Solovita. She sees Flavia, her Cabal sister, on the ground. Arkadiy, Solovita. I'm going to 50-50 this. It's going to be Arkadiy. All right. So Polonia is going to, because she's a sorcerer, she is going to cast a spell.
Aaron, how much preparedness do you have left?
1.
We could combo. I've got a point of forgotten lore. We could just say you got warded if we combo it. If the GM is nice.
Let's just see what she does.
All right.
Bring the pain.
Okay. I am going to spend. Okay. One of her spheres is luck. So she actually has control over the concept of luck. So what I'm going to flavor this as is she's going to enact this. She's going to tap into it. I'm going to spend some of her malice. I'm going to roll a sorcery check. And so as Arkadiy, as you're whirling around and trying to dodge attacks, trying to kind of stab back this bodyguard swinging at you, and you yourself are trying to move and stab, all of a sudden you kind of get caught up in this rigging. And there's this, you just keep kind of tripping and falling and stumbling. And let me see if it actually has a lasting effect. So this is, okay, that's a 6 on the die. That is a total of 9 on her sorcery attack, basically. She targets morale. So it's based on your morale. And so how is that? Are you, I guess you're a 4, right?
Yeah, I'm a 4.
Morale?
Still a crit.
Okay. So then I think she's going to do morale damage. As you just are constantly getting thwarted by ropes, by bindings. Like your weapon falls, you have to pick it up again, and then as you do so, you bang your head on the underside of this beam that swings around. It's almost a comedic routine.
It's the Three Stooges. I stooge out.
It's exactly what it is. It's 7 points of morale damage to Arkadiy, as like it's just the constant bad luck that it's just befallen you.
Okay. I've got 1 point of grit, so that actually takes me down to 1 morale. I'm still positive. I was not expecting that.
Okay. Now, the bad news is that she was the last to go, which means she gets to target who goes next. And so she's going to target Ludovica. So I'm going to have Ludovica go next. So this is a new round. Arkadiy, you see climbing. And so this is Ludovica's ability, basically. One of her spheres is wax, as you guys know. So Arkadiy, I'm going to say, which you see kind of pooling up from that explosion in the deck where you and Fortuna had kind of kept that simulacrum army at bay. You just see this amalgam, this waxy substance just begin to climb up. It doesn't even look like anything in particular. It's just this huge chunk of liquid wax. And as you see it manifest on the deck, it starts to take like shape again. And so you can see that she is effectively kind of forming her little wax simulacrum army up here. So it's one of her uses of sorcery for an effect. Okay, and so it passes. And so you will all see essentially climbing up, there's again, it starts as this big, massive, waxy cloud, like this mass, and it's starting to take shape, and you can see colors beginning to form as her little army is beginning to take shape once more. And then, because I think this is interesting, Vincent, she's going to call out to you. So you get to go next, Vincent.
It's the headmaster you spoke, I inevitably meet. Towards
she'll call out to you, and she says, "He is not of his right mind, sweet. He just needs to calm down. He has to get it out of his system. He is quite wise when you can communicate with him." You can tell there's a little bit of panic and pain in her voice. Like you've not heard her, because most of the time she's always been fairly elegant and refined. You can tell she's a little panicked by the situation that's going down here.
Then I'll try to assist with quelling the headmaster. So I'll do some spell casting myself, do like my chain sphere, and try to bind him down a bit with chains. Okay,
absolutely. Yeah, go ahead and get your roll together and spend whatever spends you want and go from there. As you, yeah, I'm going to say, because there's that big smoke, I'm going to say his threshold. I'm going to kick his threshold up 1, just because it's a little harder to see. On your sorcery test, that is.
Okay. I'll spend 1 of my 2 points of sorcery I have left.
Okay. To increase your chances, do you want to spend anything else? Any other?
I'm pretty low on everything. I don't even know if I have anything left.
Okay. That's what I like to hear. You've got Spirit Sight. You got Spirit Sight. Your dead friend could be there.
Oh, the one that just went down.
Right there. He's right there, you idiot.
Right there.
Felonious Intent. You got a little bit of that as well. You had some stuff.
That increases by +3. Yeah, I could try that. Do Felonious Intent. Maybe.
I should also point out, by the way, when Flavia went down, that was 7 refresh tokens. Oh, no. I'm sorry. 5 refresh tokens. Sorry. I was looking at the wrong. Still 5.
Okay.
For general abilities. All right, Vincent. What you think?
Yeah, I'll spend the 1 Felonious Intent that I have for +3 as well.
D6 +4 then on the roll, sounds like.
Okay. Oh, it's pretty high. It's going to be an 8 total.
Okay, an 8 total is not going to be a crit, but it's an 8, so it's 3 of, so you could potentially trigger your blast if you wanted to.
Yeah, is there anyone surrounding him?
There is a bodyguard on him that's swinging away.
Yeah, let's blast him. Why not? Just a little friendly fire or enemy fire.
Okay. So, are you doing this as like flavor chains and then you're going to take damage, or are you doing this more like a maneuver and you're saying this is
this is just my regular sorcery casting, so it's gonna be spell damage, morale.
All right, give me that damage then. And your morale?
Yeah, it's gonna be 5.
Okay. So the thing is Chauncey had reduced the headmaster with his sway to 0, which is how I triggered like this. That's like in my narrative brain. That's what triggered him not being able to keep his cool. And so he started casting. So now this will basically put him into the negative. So I'm going to say that this effectively, at least for the time being, is going to effectively nullify the headmaster. He's not dead. He's too important of a character to like just kill him in this particular case. But like I will say that like as these things kind of wrap around him, he's very used to chains. And so they use these, and you would know, like these chains to keep him in his coffin, to keep him in his chambers. And so as these things start to wrap around him and across and over this poor bodyguard that gets wrapped in tight with him, and he's like burning against the body of the charred headmaster, you can definitely see that the headmaster is beginning to settle down a little bit. Like you can see the flames are beginning to die down. Those missiles are no longer firing like barrages out. It does seem to have calmed him.
Nice.
Okay. So Vincent, what would you like to do? Or who would you like to go next?
Yeah, I'll send it over to Solavita.
All right, Solavita.
Oh.
What would you like to do?
All right. Solavita is going to kind of reach out and touch Arkadiy's back, and she's going to use a point of forgotten lore, but this is kind of how I flavor the look of it. From her hand, you see a bunch of like little stone scales start to spread out and cover like everywhere. And you have it's 1 point spend. You have a point of ward that you can use to reduce or have incoming damage from a health source. I don't know if I have to say health or morale, but I would have done health.
I think it's just one source, so it doesn't matter. It's the same thing. Vincent has one of those on him as well. It's a protective ward, is basically. Yeah. Okay.
And then
Excellent.
Run.
I'm gonna jump off the side.
Okay, you're just going to straight up jump off. All right. There's water below, so no one's going to take damage. It's just you're in the water and this nasty, slimy alligator and snake infested water.
Yep.
As Solavita, you jump off, splash, and as your head comes back up, you got grime in your eyes, but you can see in the boat, Fortuna is like rocking a little bit as this bodyguard is raising a sword at them. Who would you like to go next, Solavita?
Let me see here. So the headmaster and the bodyguard have been taken out. Arkadiy and Chauncey and Fortuna are left, but we still have a lot of the bad guys. Arkadiy can go. I think right now the momentum is good.
Okay. All right, Arkadiy.
Did Arkadiy see the bodyguard follow Fortuna down the ladder?
You're a very vigilant person. I don't see any reason why you wouldn't have seen it. Yeah. I think you would have.
Okay. So Arkadiy just turns, sprints over to the side of the boat close enough, and he's going to leap off the side of the boat with his blades and try to just slam them into this bodyguard.
I love it. Absolutely love it.
Cannonball.
Yeah. So I'm not going to make an athletics test. I'm just going to up the difficulty of the attack slightly, obviously. So I'm going to give him essentially a +2 to the threshold on your normal attack. So roll your attack like you would, but the difficulty is going to be slightly.
So how many of the points do we have left from Flavia?
Take all 5 and use it on your warfare. I think that's going to keep us alive more than anything else. I don't think anybody's going to fight you for that.
Okay, let me add those in real quick.
Okay.
And then
if you kill him, you get more back.
Jeremy may have had an idea.
Oh, sorry, Jeremy.
Since this is a surprise attack, I'm going to use my point of skullduggery, the last point of investigative I've got, to get a +3.
I don't know if I would call it a surprise attack.
Well, no, but I'm not surprised
on.
attacking him, but I mean, I'm flavoring the use of the skullduggery to get a +3.
Oh, okay.
Because...
Okay, gotcha. Okay, understood. I thought we were getting into the rules there. Yeah.
No, not an actual surprise attack. Okay, so I will go ahead and spend the 5 points of warfare to give this a
Oh,
plus
God.
8.
Okay. Holy crap.
10.
10 to hit is
I got a terrible
not
roll yet again.
not a crit. Oh my God, that's not a crit. It's still a hit.
2.
It's still a hit though.
Freaking believable.
Man.
Unfortunately, it's not plus
ones
5
and
over.
twos.
I cannot get a break tonight. Fine, should be a 1 or 2 here too. Let's see. A 3.
3.
But
It's not
you
a 1
spent-
or 2.
You spent how many points of warfare did you spend though?
5. Oh yeah, so 5
So,
minimum.
so it's 5. So it's
So
5
6
plus
in total, minus
6
and
total.
and bypasses 2 armor.
So it's good. He does have armor on, but it's not going to affect. That is not enough to kill him, unfortunately. But he does have a different target in the boat now, at least, as you come leaping down like a freaking. You know what? Take an extra d6 on the roll because like the simple gravity.
Gravity.
I think.
You're a very
So
kind
get another.
man. Thank
Add
you,
another
Jeff.
d6 to it. Yeah.
Let's get a 6 this time.
Hey.
Okay. I regret it instantly. Okay. So. The total was 6, so that's 12 points of damage. That is not enough to take him out still, but what I will say is going to knock him like prone and he's going to fall. I'm going to do an out of turn roll for him to see if he stays in the boat, if you knock him out of the boat, or if he falls out. I'm just going to do a straight up roll.
If
Difficulty
he
of 4.
splats on top of Fortuna.
He falls out of the boat. I rolled a 3, and so he splashes out. He's not dead. He's very injured, as you just did a whole mess load of damage to him. But you knock him out of the boat. The boat
Nice.
goes around a little bit. You can hear some cracks of the wood as things start to split. But that is a very effective turn. And then Arkadiy, you need to go. You need to decide who goes next.
I am going to say the bodyguard next to Vincent.
Okay. Bodyguard next to Vincent. Man, I'm running out of targets. He's just seen people race off and leap off the boat. So I think he's going to race to the port side around where Solavita leapt off. Do these guys have...
I would say I've got some
they do
cover
have
under the
crossbows.
water. This murky, terrible water.
They do have crossbows. So I think he will switch to that. Not like big, heavy ones like you guys had. And he's going to fire down. He's got 3 choices. Let's see. It's going to be Fortuna. So he's going to fire down into the boat, and it's just going to target Fortuna. Okay. I haven't spent anything for him, so I'm going to go ahead and spend some stuff to give him a bonus to his roll. It's a 7 against. This is obviously against your health threshold. What is that, Fortuna?
Yeah.
Okay.
3.
All right. He can't do anything for AoE, but I can spend points for extra damage, which I will. It's like my favorite one to use. So easy. You just get an extra die. That's it. So easy. Okay.
Just to remind everyone where Fortuna is at. Fortuna is currently at 1 health.
No,
So,
she's not. She's at minus 5 health. As I just did 6 damage to you.
Eek.
Actually, if you have armor, it doesn't bypass armor or anything.
I don't have armor.
So Arkadiy leaps down, stabs this guy in the back, throws him overboard, and as he's looking down, and like that leaves like a tiny opening, and this crossbow quarrel just comes down, flies down, and Fortuna, you get hit in like the shock of this moment. You're at minus 5. Is that right?
How much damage did he do?
It was 6 total. Do you have any armor?
So then minus 5. No.
Okay. All right. So then you need to roll a health test, difficulty 4, to stay conscious, as you are in the negative now. At least you're in the boat, though. So this is a good place as any to go unconscious. You're in your skiff.
So, and sorry that I'm having trouble wrapping my head around this. This is a D20 roll?
No, it's not. Everything's a
No.
D6.
D6.
Yeah, it's a D6,
Sorry.
difficulty of 4.
Okay.
And you can spend stuff, investigative points,
That's
just
what
like
okay.
normal.
Yeah, sorry.
If there was something you wanted to spend to get a +3 on the roll. In your case, I would not spend health because that would take you to a different tier. You're at the lowest part of the tier, and that would increase the difficulty of the health check.
Okay. All right. rolling it straight then.
Okay. You need a 4, 5, or 6. 50-50 chance.
2. Sorry, and I could spend. Sorry, I could spend.
You
an
can spend
investigative
investigative
point
points to get
Okay.
a +3 on the roll if you can justify how it would help you in this situation.
I would say that just nobility. There's something about her noble stock that helps her. In this.
You're so proud that you're not going to be taken down by a measly guard in a crossbow bolt. No.
Not
Much
not
greater
how
things must
Wallen
fell
goes
you
down.
than this.
Exactly.
That's why I like this game. You can just
crossbow.
bullshit your way into it, and it very much wants you to do that. Oh, goodness.
So +3, so that's a 5.
+3 is a 5. I was gonna say if you rolled so poorly that you would have failed. I'm like, actually, it does take you. All right, so you take a bolt. It's sticking out of your shoulder, but you're in the boat with Arkadiy. You see splashing around not too far from you is Solovita, and there is one of these bodyguards in the water as well, splashing about.
Yeah, they're splashing in a stereo here because Chauncey's splashing on one side of the boat and Solovita's splashing on the other side of the boat.
I'm not even sure if
Okay.
I came out on the same side as you guys. I might have come out
You
of
came
on
out-
the other side.
I'm gonna say you came out literally on the stern. So I actually like you're in the back of the boat. You're not that far away. Like you'd have to swim
Okay.
around or move around. But yeah, no one even really. Chauncey, you surprisingly aren't in is that much danger. I mean, you just got to worry about a crocodile or not a crocodile, an alligator or a
Just-
snake or something.
Just the
Just the 10 Chugat that are pointing trouble bows at you right now. That's it. I'm gonna have just to get the bodyguards done. I'm gonna give it to the other bodyguard, Polonius bodyguard, who's gonna run to the edge and do the same thing. It's going to search for a target. I have 3 different choices. It's gonna be Solovita, but I think you're right. I think cover sort of makes sense. So I'll say you're in the water. Give yourself a +2 to your health threshold, Solovita, on this shot.
Yes.
Nice.
All right. And so he's going to fire down. That's a 3 on the die. So this is a total of that's only a 6 total because I spent 2 points.
Threshold is 5, so that would still hit.
It's still a hit. It's a regular hit.
Unless I only have 1 investigation left. I guess I could spend my leechcraft to boost my health threshold by 3.
Yeah. I think that's totally fair. And it would miss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna have to I do that.
Okay. That's perfect. Absolutely. So you feel it go like it comes like you're done underneath the water as you're getting up, the bolt comes in, you feel it kind of scrape against your arm, but you keep it together. And there's now 2 of these bodyguards firing crossbow bolts down from the side of the ship. One of them is now in the water. One of them is tied up with the headmaster. All right. Who hasn't gone yet? I don't think Polonia has gone and Chauncey hasn't gone. So Chauncey, you're up.
Okay. So at this point, like we can't see the other ship, right? Most of our group is not aware of it even, correct?
Yep.
Yeah, you
Okay.
are not familiar with it. No.
Fair enough. I guess I can't even see like our little skiff to the side, just in the water, panicking. I think he just wants to try and swim to get to some sort of handhold on the boat and pull himself up out of the water.
Okay. I think that's easy enough to do. No roll. Like you're right next to it. The boat's not going anywhere.
Okay.
You can steady yourself. Do you think Chauncey in this situation would know would remember where your little boat was?
I'm okay with it being 50-50. Like,
Okay, give it a roll. Yeah, flip.
Only
Let's say-
50-50?
I mean, because he's panicking. He was in a smoky room. He
Just
fell
broke
out the
out,
window, like discombobulated, falls in the water. It's dark. So
Fair.
I'll roll a D10, and odd he does remember.
Okay. Odds he does remember.
No.
Okay, so he doesn't know.
Ridiculous luck cutting the other way. Sometimes it's
I like
just
it.
ridiculously bad luck.
Totally fair. Okay.
So he's swimming around to the other side.
You swim to the wrong side? Is that the idea?
Yeah, of course, because
Okay.
he's mixed up. He's got it wrong.
Well, Chauncey, you swim to the other side, and lo and behold, you do see a boat right there against the ship. You definitely
Perfect.
see it. Okay, so you just start swimming after that boat. I love it.
Yeah, of course.
That's amazing. Okay, so that's exactly what you'll do. All right, I think left to go. Ludovica's
I don't think
gone.
Fortuna's gone.
Okay,
this
Fortuna's
Oh,
okay.
God.
Fortuna, Polonia, and Costanzo, I think, still need to go. I think those are the three.
So, I mean, Chauncey, like you can throw it to whoever you want to. But just to clarify, I don't believe I've gone this round.
Don't forget though that whoever goes last is the person who gets to pick who goes first. So it's up to you. If you go last at the end of a round, whoever goes last gets to pick who goes first at the end of the next round.
It's true. Just because I feel like I'm all topsy-turvy, I'm going to give it to Polonia.
Okay. All right. So
And that way
Polonia
Fortuna
is
gets to double dip.
okay. Okay. Polonia is going to come to the edge of the boat, and what other is this? She's got a couple. She's got 3 spheres. She has what's called a cruel sorcerer. Okay. I'm going to cast a spell at Solavita. This is so one of her other ones is memory. So I'm going to, as she's sort of moving her arms around, she's creating this spell. You can see like in front of her, like this weird, like kind of geometric shape, this sort of like polyhedron begins to form. And then she kind of flicks it down and it just weaves its way and just enters right into Solavita's brain. You could see it just sort of meld into it as how I'm flavoring her. And the goal, well, the way I'm going to say is that if this succeeds, you're going to forget which way is up. And that's what we're doing here. Okay, so this is targeting your morale. Let's spell a couple points.
In the
It's a great
water.
thing in the
Don't
water,
know which way
yeah.
is up. Yeah.
Okay. That is a 7 against your morale threshold.
Morale threshold is 4.
Okay. I don't think Arkadiy and Fortuna are close enough for me to use blast, so to AoE it. So I'm just going to. Okay. Just going to do a bunch of morale damage to you, I think.
Yep.
Okay. That's going to be a total of 8 morale damage to Solavita as you genuinely forget which way is up.
Okay.
Panic sets
Got
in.
it.
Dear.
Do you have any
Oh,
grit?
no.
Grit obviously reduces the damage from morale.
Yep. Good point.
Okay.
How are you doing with morale?
3. Much
Okay.
better than health, which is -5 still.
Yeah, I have it
Hey,
mixed.
chooses.
There's Costanzo and Polonia do morale. Flavia and Ludovica do health. It's basically how it goes.
Nice.
All right, then I guess I'm going to have Costanzo go. I think he is going to be, since he has got the air, he's going to kind of clear the top. I think he is going to set to ensuring the headmaster, following up on Vincent's lead, he is essentially going to create this, like he's going to encase him at this point in this sort of protective field and try to herd the headmaster back towards where he's supposed to be, because he is a walking nuclear bomb. Play this fair and say he rolls. Okay, 4 on the dot, so he will start to do that. Okay, so that's going to be Costanzo's turn, which then it's going to come to Fortuna. Fortuna to finish off the round. Arkadiy is here in the boat with you. Solavita, you can see, is starting to sink and struggle. Bodyguard is starting to sort of splash around. You haven't seen Chauncey for God knows how long. There's people up on the railing firing crossbow bolts down, and there is now a sorcerer that you can see as well. What do you want to do, Fortuna?
I would say that Fortuna will probably want to. Oh gosh. I want to try to take down Flavia if I can. Is that
Flavia's already down. Flavia hasn't gone a
Okay,
while.
sorry.
Arkadiy,
Sorry.
and an AoE took her down.
Sorry, Polonia.
Okay, so you can see the one that's kind of chanting down towards Solavita. You're at a very long distance from her. So are you attacking with sway?
Yeah, sway.
Okay,
Yeah,
so just to make
be...
just so you know, your sway attacks would they would get a +2 because of how far away you are. Because I would put them as within medium distance, but they're definitely not close. So that's a plus. So they would have a +2 because they're so far away. It's like you're shouting a very long distance.
Your words can't hurt me if I can't hear you.
What? What was that? What?
So I'm going to I'm going to say that I want to spend Liar's Tell because I think there was a little bit of I'm going to spend Liar's Tell for a +3.
So you're going to continue with it? Okay. So, fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm going to spend Liar's Tell for the +3 and I'm going to spend 3 sway. So I'm going to finish off the sway that I have.
Give me 6 +6 on this. So what do you think what do you think you're going to hit on this? Obviously it's just a question of how well, but what do you think how is this attack actually happening? Like, what are you doing?
So I think like Fortuna is so like she believes in the family and the righteousness of the family and the just how dare like is just her general aura of like there are like we have gathered our family from all of the corners of Eversink and beyond, and you think that these, and she sort of spits out the side of the boat, you think this sorcery that you have is more powerful than the sorcery that we have in this family. We can take you out by skin and blood, and we can take you out by sorcery. You are nothing. You are beneath us. And that's what she is.
Okay, spewing. So the D6, you have a total of a +6 between your spends, it sounds like. So give it a go.
I do. Okay, so
you said you're going to spend 3 sway, right? So it's a +7 because I believe normally it's a 1d6 +1 for sway, +3 more, and then +3 from the investigator points. So it's actually a +7.
Okay, so I rolled a 3, so that's a 10.
Okay, that will let's see. I don't think that's unfortunately going to be a crit because of the distance. Yeah, so her threshold would be at 6. So a 6 is unfortunately not within 5, so you do not crit her. You can roll damage though.
Okay.
And
so then this is going to be a +6 for the
minimum is going to on your roll is a 6. You can just say it basically, unless you wanted to spend more points to get more damage. Of course, you could try to get an extra damage die with an investigative point.
Because if I roll a 5, then that would be an 8.
So it's the minimum of your spend, and so your spend was 3. So the minimum of your D6 roll would have been a 3, but you rolled a 5, which is higher anyway. So okay, so sounds like a 6, and I was totally wrong, by the way. The +1 is on damage; it's not on the roll. So it was a +6. Doesn't matter. Doesn't change anything.
Okay.
So you will do damage to her. She will like you as you're shouting out this so loud that everyone can hear, basically. Because if you're shouting to the complete other side of the boat, and somehow she can hear this, as she's chanting, and you can see she's trying to create some lasting enchantment on Solavita, and I'll say like this sort of breaks her out of that ritual, and she seems
good.
Seems frustrated and apoplectic that you would interfere with her. So
excellent.
6. Okay.
This is a reaction that I'm going for. Yes,
Okay.
and at that, Chauncey knows that he's swimming.
Yeah,
in the
now
wrong
Chauncey's like,
direction.
oh shit, I'm on the wrong side.
Okay. New round. Fortuna, you ended the round, which means you get to decide who goes first this round.
Oh, seeking input from my fellow players. Who should I have go first? What would make the most sense?
Solavita, so she can get in the boat.
Yeah, I could go first.
Okay.
Okay. So, as much as Aaron would like me to be logical, I'm going to.
That's not how you work.
You guys do see Solavita does start to swim towards the boat, and as she goes, you see her one of her hands just sticks in sort of in a pouch below the water, so you can't see, and pulls out her little blackthorn dagger. And she's going to try to stab this guy in the back of the neck while he's swimming next to
the bodyguard. That's okay. Absolutely, yeah. Go for it.
And I'm going to plug in my 2 points of warfare into this roll.
The bodyguard becomes the door that Solavita just crawls up on.
That's a big 6 right there.
That would be perfect. So that's 8
that's a
to hit.
Cool. Yeah, that's definitely a hit. It's not a crit. They do have four in their threshold. So
yeah, I don't have enough.
You guys have missed crits by like 1 so many times in this combat.
Yeah,
I only have 2 in warfare. So anyway, 4 points of damage.
That is enough with all the damage that Arkadiy did to him for you to finish him off. So you want to describe what that looks like?
So yeah, she's just like swimming, shark in the water, comes up behind him fairly silently, as is her nature, pulls his head to the side, gets that dagger into the side, rips it out, lets him sink with his armor, pulling him down before kind of taking that hand to grab the side of the boat. I don't think I have enough movement to get up yet, but he's gone.
You're there though. You're not necessarily going to drown. You can kind of grab the edge of it, and so you're not in danger per se, except for the alligator and stuff. Okay, who goes next?
That is, I think we're going to have to start taking out these bodyguards that are shooting down at us. So that would be Arkadiy.
Okay, Arkadiy.
Solavita, dear cousin, hold on. He takes the oars, and using all the athletics he has in his body, he starts moving us away from this boat and hopefully deeper into the fin and into the fog.
Okay. All right. So give me an athletics test. Obviously a difficulty of 4 just to move it, but if you want to move it off the map, I would say if you're looking to move it off the map out of their range, I'm going to want to, let's say a difficulty of a 6 to kind of get it going that fast.
All right. So I will spend my 6 points in athletics
and
get a 12 in total.
Nice. There were also, I think it was 3 more. Hang on. Sorry. Because you guys did just take out a bodyguard. Let me get the right number. So you got some more general.
Refresh tokens.
I think it's 5. Yeah, 5. Okay, so there's 5 more refresh tokens. Okay, so what was the total
I'll grab
of the roll?
2 of those this time.
A 12 in total.
A 12. Okay, that's a crit. You very much will take Fortuna. Solavita, I'll say you can hold on, no problem. So you all are effectively out of sight in a way from the fight at this point, deeper into the fin. And that leaves, unfortunately, Chauncey and Vincent are left behind. But you guys the 3 of you are clear. Okay. So Arkadiy, you're still technically in control of who goes next. So who do you want to have go next?
I think Chauncey.
Okay, Chauncey.
We can now echolocate where we were.
Well, we can't talk. We don't want them to find us.
That's true. But there's this really fun ability of where'd she go? If you succeed at a stealth test, you just disappear from a location and reappear later in a physically accessible location at a convenient time during the scene.
Okay. I like it. Okay. Are you going to tap into that?
Yes. 100%.
Dives underwater and disappears.
It's like, it is one of those things like, yes, there's terrible things to learn. I can stay here and I know 100% all these sorcerers are going to burn me or like melt, or
worse actually, but yeah.
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 I'm probably being eaten by whatever's in this water is less terrible. So I will spend my last 2 points of stealth.
Okay.
I don't really think I have anything I could. Actually, you know what? A funny thing about now that I've been spending time with nobility, I grew up down at the docks and like the water sucked because if you're by the shore, it's work. But nobility sometimes go swimming for leisure, and Chauncey like eats that up.
You
So
used
he's
to be
actually
an
been-
eel ball player too, so like
That's true. I was just trying to find a way to like flavor nobility as a
Yeah.
bonus to the
Nobility.
swim check or to the.
I think it's great. Okay. So go ahead and make the check. As long as you pass, I think you're good. I think you just have to roll a stealth test, and as long as you
Yeah.
succeed,
But I just feel like I'm going to fail, so I'm going to do that just to give myself a plus three, and then also the +2.
An
Okay.
Eversync version of like an infinity pool.
Right.
Chauncey
Okay.
should, like-
Yeah, so I'll click the +2 and we'll throw the +3 at the end of it afterwards.
You're totally yeah. Okay, so that's a
So it
total
end
of
up being a
9, which is like a crit.
Nice.
You're totally fine. So maybe you climb up onto one of these little because it's a swampy area. You guys are on the edge of it. So there's deep waters, but there's also these little islands that pop up. Maybe you climb up onto the shore of one of them. Right as Arkadiy is just like rowing behind Solovita water skiing, like
Perfect form. He's an excellent
Yeah.
swimmer. Just
So Arkadiy, you look over with your vigilance and you can just see there is you first think maybe it's an alligator, but then you see it's Chauncey just climbing up on this silty, muddy bank.
Get in the boat, cousin.
I'm looking at it.
Okay.
Who's fire?
Okay. Chauncey, I feel like you guys have essentially vacated the scene. You've escaped.
Mhm.
But let's give it to Vincent. I'm
Of course,
kind
yeah,
of
that's
curious
totally
to
who I was
see
going to give
what
it
Vincent.
to if we were still.
Yeah. So Vincent, just to recap for you, you have come back here. You've seen your family. They've been getting attacked by your cabal. Like you've definitely seen that. It looks like Costanzo, one of your sorceress cabal members, has taken care, followed your lead, and now has ushered the headmaster back towards this coffin. You can see Ludovica's like wax army is manifesting once more. Like Polonia is calling out like they managed to get away, like they escaped, like that kind of thing. You can see some of the bodyguards are firing ineffectually into the dark. These crossbows, they maybe run up to the stern and are firing back, but doesn't seem like they're hitting. So what does Vincent do in this situation?
I'd go up to the charred remains of what's left of Aesop, one of the sorcerers that got burned.
Yeah.
I'd check that out, see if he had anything that kind of survived the attack.
Okay. Sure. Okay, you can see that he has his like do you remember how everybody has like the same, everyone in the cabal has like the same kind of piece of jewelry with the same sort of symbol? He has cufflinks, and you can see although his clothes have been singed and torn away, his skin has been singed. You can see that the cufflinks have managed to kind of embed themselves into what's left of the flesh of his wrists. Other than that, everything seems to be destroyed, but you could pluck them if you wanted.
Yeah, I'll pluck that and just let people know Aesop's dead.
Okay.
I met him today.
And like Ludovica will come up and say, my dear, your family will have to be next, do you think? Yes? We have many tasks to accomplish. You can tell she's very like winded. You can tell she's very tired. Something's draining her, it looks like. But she's like, kind of winded and tired. I thought at first that your matriarch would do, but I'm starting to think that perhaps the rest of them are too insufferable to let live. Don't you agree? She looks towards you.
I have to explain what the hell's going on here.
Whatever do you mean?
This headmaster, he's just blown up the ship practically.
He is a very powerful sorcerer that has lived for many years, and he needs his rest and his regeneration time. It seems that someone in your family has interfered with that regenerative time, endangering not just him, but all of us. But it seems as though you and Costanza were able to think quickly and corral him once more. So I don't think you'll be having to worry about him. It is your incessant family with their bumbling idiocy that has put us into this problem to begin with. But fortunately, we still have the matriarch. Our main task is still ahead of us. But when that's done, when we have gained the power that we have been promised, the first task we will have will be to erase them all from existence. Do you agree? She looks at you again, assessing you.
Wipe them out. Is that necessary?
Well, I was going to let them live. Just the matriarch, of course. But then they came here. And now Flavia might be deceased. Poor Aesop here is but a pile of ash, all because of them. It seems only fair, does it not? Before they get others killed. That seems to be a reputation for your family. They get everyone else killed, but not themselves. Isn't that interesting? It is time for that sort of ridiculous luck to turn. Don't you think?
They're likely to return. You still have the matriarch.
Well, if they do, wait, you think they would go for Eliana in their state?
I mean, I'd be on their side if you haven't found me. That's what I would do.
Well, perhaps we should warn the pirates. I must spend some time. And Vincent, do you have any points in vigilant or like liar's tell or anything to like assess people? Do you have any kind of abilities
My social
of that
skills
kind?
are like charm and trustworthy, if those work at all.
Okay. The one thing you can tell is that most of the time you've seen her, she has been kind of a vision of like ageless beauty, right? Like you can never quite tell exactly how old she is. But you can see that there are sections of her face or skin that are like almost like it's melting in some places. And like you can see the skin is kind of starting to sag here or there, and she's very winded. And you can see behind her, over elsewhere on the deck, you can see her waxy simulacrums are almost mimicking her movements, and they're kind of touching themselves up, it seems. And each time one of them is doing that, you see parts of her body begin to heal. But you can tell, like, she is literally melting in front of you.
What about you, Ludovica? You've been hurting since leaving the pirate ship.
Yes, it is again. Your family seems to put their nose where it does not belong. But of course we did, yes, take their beloved matriarch. What a treat she is. I will be fine in time. Do you think you and Polonia could take the skiff and warn the pirates of your family's intents to come steal away Elian? Not that they could possibly get on board that ship as well. Not with that crew.
Yeah, I can take her with me. We're both fine. Everything's under control, too.
Yes, well, tell Captain Marr to be on the lookout. They have a knack for, well, perhaps not succeeding, but at the very least, they have had a knack for fouling things up. Now, beware of Chugat. With that light show, they are most certainly in the shadows, and they are waiting.
I'll be careful.
Okay. So you and Polonia, and we'll say bodyguards, probably two, one for each of you, climb down into the boat, into the skiff, and you start heading back to the Blind Maiden. Let us then check in with Chauncey, Fortuna, Solavita, and Arkadiy. You are away. You are, we can say, if you want a moment of respite, you're on some random swampy island in the middle of this dark and terrifying swamp with the sounds of all manner of bog creature calling out to you. You hear shuffling in the darkness. Shadows are throwing themselves in this way and that. And more than once, you hear the sounds of the croaks, these horrific croaks, as if someone is communicating with each other at long distances. What are the four of you doing?
So the stories about the things, they're just the worst idea. Are they assumed to be just creatures or smart, perchance? Maybe understanding?
I have heard that they are smart, but I do not know if they understand our speech.
Yes. Solavita and Fortuna would both know that they are intelligent creatures, but they hate Eversinkers. They hate you people because they effectively see you as having stolen the swamp from them, right? Now, you all would know even further, though, that they were once, or at least continue to be, followers or worshippers of this Borda deity that your family once was also worshippers of. That is the other little wrinkle in this. And that you at some point allied with them.
Do we remember any of the the rituals or markings in the family tomb that was in worship to Borda that maybe Solavita or Fortuna could speak to these creatures to help rally them to our side?
I wouldn't say I'm good at talking to anything, but I can definitely give the information for other people that are a little bit more skilled at that. That being said, I think we need to take a respite just a little bit here because I believe myself and Fortuna are not doing so well. I am -5. I believe she is as well.
I am quite in quite a state.
Do you have bind wounds left?
Absolutely.
I have 2 bind wounds left.
Okay, so there's 3 points still. I also have 2, so if we take 1 more each, that would give us 3, which means we can bind wounds for 6 on each other and get the +1. It might be a good idea, and then Arkadiy can just refresh more of his warfare.
Okay, that works. So we're down to, then we'll have spent all of them. Is everyone good with that? Chauncey, did you need anything?
Oh no. I just
Didn't get
I'm
hit
good.
at all.
Good to take a minute with it. Just I have an idea. And Chauncey, meanwhile, is doing his best to kind of draw a very crude picture of the weird fox-headed Hydra thing.
Oh yeah, I remember that. It fell in love with you, and then you screamed and ran away.
I don't kiss and tell, and you don't need to either.
Oh, sorry.
So all of you would remember that some of the common item or common images you've seen, a tree, a woman kind of squatting down and beckoning a creature towards it. So it looks like one of those, like a fox at one point, but other times it looked a little bit more reptilian. But you remember this isolated tree on a small island. So you kind of remember some of the imagery pretty clearly. And you do remember that there were in certain places in the reading and also in your undervaults, there were scripture in some ways, or at least ritual chants, things like that, bindings, the exact nature of which is still uncertain and is probably lost somewhat to time. But you would have a fundamental working knowledge that could probably get you into trouble. But yeah.
Your cousin Fortuna, with your attire and our family crest of the fox upon your clothes, you could kneel forth like we saw within the temple and call out the ritual words to summon them to our side, and then we attack. They will not expect it, considering how near death we are.
No. Instead, we spread scurrilous rumors about these horrible offenders that have come into their home to almost turn into a man of just igneous sorcerer intent. Clearly, we want to help them get those horrible people out of their home.
Well, yes, exactly, Chauncey. That's the attack part. They attack.
Oh, I thought you were saying we were going to attack them. I was thinking, what do you
No.
Right now, we are Borda's best friends
he's
as far as
incredibly
anybody's
brave.
concerned.
So Fortuna
let's do
and
this.
Solavita have bandaged each other up a bit so that we're back up to +1 each. And now Fortuna. So now, Cousin Arkadiy, you want me to get on my old knees and do the...
Absolutely. Use your commanding voice, your commanding malevolent voice to repel these beasts.
I will pull out great grandma Rithilda's skin diary as well, and let me see if I can find some more information for you on this sort of ritual.
This is useful, and Fortuna's like taking off a shawl and putting it in this wooden boat so that she has something to kneel on top of that's a little bit softer for her.
Don't worry, I find you island with small tree. Just be like ritual. And that's why Arkadiy's scanning around to find an appropriate landing spot for the boat, so we can all be killed by these frog people instead of the sorcerers.
I dropped a screenshot of it in our group chat so you guys can see what you got looks like. I love that so much.
That's awesome.
I love them.
We're definitely going to die. Just FYI.
So great.
They are amazing. I'll drop one in the.
Oh my god!
If one of you wants to drop it in the.
Oh, sure.
Go for it. Okay.
Oh.
All right. So Arkadiy, you are looking around. Your vigilance is so good. I would say it's not an issue. You would be able to find an isolated island. Doesn't take too long, but you're looking for something that sort of looks to some degree like what you've seen in some insignias before, and what was at the base of your family, your family's under vaults. And you find an island. You find the tree, and you're able to pull the boat up to it. Yeah, no problem.
Okay, so Fortuna is going to kneel and I feel like Arkadiy and Solavita are making sure that she is kind of physically positioned in the right direction, that she, is kneeling the right way and facing the right way and, doing the things. And then Solavita is going to kind of feed her what it is that she needs to say.
So matron of the swamps, Borda, we are a family who worshipped her some generations ago, but still carry some blood, blah, blah, blah. You know that part, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Let's definitely imply we still worship Borda. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. We descend from a family of worshippers of Borda.
Well, I should show them where the thing bit me. I bear its mark.
Oh, great. Yes, the love tap.
It was a love bite.
Flavor is love bite.
It was some necking. It wasn't.
Beloved by
me.
Barda. That's my title, beloved by Barda. Look at this love bite.
I think that lasts several years before it goes away.
Okay. All right. So you go through this ritual process. You kind of set this up. Let me see how long it takes. Okay. About not quite an hour. You see these shapes beginning to approach from different directions in the water. You also start to notice, as they get closer, you really can't see anything just yet. Everything's very dark. Then a few of those shapes, suddenly there's this orb of blue light that just suddenly whoosh, emerges. And you can see each of these different orbs, there's maybe 4 of them around you. And you all are heavily surrounded this island by all these waddling massive shapes. They're all dressed. You can see they're dressed in sort of this sort of swampy, like swamp colors and such. Some of them have horns coming out of them. Some of them don't. You see these big eyes, and you can see a few of them have bows and arrows trained at you, and others seem to be just holding up in the air these orbs to create this aura of blue around you. One of them will step forward, and you can see hanging from their horns is all sorts of these different adornments, like earrings, these different colorful earrings. They've got these what looks like little small packs and stuff hanging down for carrying whatever it might need. And you can see on its back as it closes in on you, there's just like moss. It's just got this cloak of moss, and it steps up onto the shore while the others are kind of staying in the water, and it lets out this croak. Doesn't speak whatever, doesn't speak Eversync, doesn't speak any language. It just kind of calls out in your direction. And you can see as it does so, many of the ones that are holding arrows pull back on the strings a bit, but they don't immediately fire.
Interesting fact, if you have forgotten lore, you can add additional languages whenever it is required, up to a certain number. So I believe Fortuna and I have enough that we could probably just speak that language if we wanted.
Yeah, I'm gonna say no on that one. This isn't like a language that people speak in Eversync. It's just how they communicate. They croak. But if you want to speak Camian or any of these other things, that's fine. These are just like their ways of gutturally communicating. Because I don't think like dogs barking to each other is a language. So
like a known language.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like
that's fair.
Yeah.
Doesn't Fortuna already have like a crossbow bolt in her?
It's true.
Yeah.
Just sticking right out.
A hand up and point that she's already been shot, and point back at the ship.
Okay. And it looks up, and it looks at you, and then you hear like this exchange of croaks that just rotates around.
Pointing at the ship and raising a fist.
It's such a hideous sound. There's cascading of croaking around you that's echoing. You're not sure if they're putting it together. One of them with the bow is kind of pulling back, and then the other one's like "Rawr, rawr."
Arkadiy just sort of ducks his head down and puts his hands up and just says in clear, loud language, "We come with the blessing of Mother Borda, calling upon our ancient pacts for your help so that we may help you reclaim the swamps."
Okay. You can definitely tell that when you say Borda, like they all suddenly, like the croaking stops and they look towards you, and like their heads are kind of tilting the way a dog does when it's trying to understand what's happening. And like a few, like you can see the ones that have got like the blue spheres, like they're communicating with each other. So they'll say "Rah!" as they continue to croak back. And you can see a couple of the bows and arrows are kind of lowered at this point, and they waddle a little bit closer to this one that got up onto the shore, and it leans and looks at Arkadiy. It is not a small creature. It is, I the way I'm envisioning, they are probably like maybe 5 foot to 6 feet at the height at the largest, but they're wide waddling figures. They're huge and they're draped in these clothes, and they're a little bit imposing, and you can tell like there's this aura of like mysticism about it as it leans down, and you just feel its presence, like this wet stank that is just like hovering over top of you, trying to assess you. Its eyes kind of flickering, open and close. You see its mouth opens, and unlike a normal toad, there's like big fangs and teeth. Like you can see they're pronounced. Anyone else say anything? Fortuna, Solavita, anyone else say anything? I'll have Arkadiy do the roll, but I thought Arkadiy wasn't the one we wanted to have roll this way, so I was giving you all an opportunity to pitch in here before you.
I will nudge Fortuna considerably. Go, your turn.
And they take that as aggression and they start firing.
And end scene.
And dead. Then Vincent was saved from our family forever.
And Fortuna is sort of nodding as Arkadiy is talking and kind of echoes, like she sees, that saying Borda, and so she again, we come to humbly request assistance. We will fight for you to clear the swamp of these invaders. We humbly request any assistance so that we can remove all of these invaders. And she kind of does the same thing, kind of that like, body signals indicate kind of supplication.
Okay. Give me a sway test to try to convince them of this, basically. Or if you have any investigative points left and you want to just get it, you could also make a spend if you've got any social stuff left.
Yeah, I've got nothing to spend for a sway. Social wise, I have command.
Do you have command left?
Yeah,
I do.
Do you want to tap into? You would know from the history that they served you. Now you guys didn't treat them all that well, but like you don't really treat anyone well, so who cares? So like you would know that they were your servants in all sorts of nefarious sorcerous experimentation.
So, and I would say maybe then it's still a like humbling, but it's sort of we humbly now come to almost to sort of words were escaping me, sort of like to cash in on sort
we
of
humbly command you.
Past.
Okay.
It's like we humbly request that you pay what is due.
Okay. They turn around and you're not entirely sure exactly how much they understood. Like it doesn't seem like all of like the nuance of what you're saying, but they waddle over to you and you see them like pull out this crude knife. And it's like a little dangerous at a second because it looks like they're right in front of Fortuna now with this knife. But instead of stabbing Fortuna, you just see it holds its hand out and slices across its hand. And then you can see it does like it licks its palm and then offers the palm to you, Fortuna.
It's time for you to become the matron.
Lick that blood.
So Fortuna's a little like, what am I supposed to do with this? And so she kind of looks at where they're putting the hand, if they're putting the hand close to her face, like she's supposed to lick it, or okay. And so then she
Melissa knows what she needs to do.
So Fortuna,
no one wants to admit it.
we've been hinting at some nasty stuff that your family's been doing with your blood rituals. So here it is.
For sure. And so she will kind of like do a little bit of a bow to kind of hide the face that she's making as she sort of like makes the bow, and then she will lick the hand.
And then as you lean back, you just hear like as they're all like suddenly very, very interested in what's happening around you, but you can see the bows have lowered. It then grabs your wrist and slices across your palm. And it reaches down and you give it a big lick with its this horrific leathery tongue, and then offers your own hand back to you.
And she again, like she's always licking second, and so she could takes the hand and just like licks her hand.
And so then you start hearing the sounds of croaking and croaking and croaking as like it's no longer like a speech. It's like it's almost like they're singing and chanting in some particular way. We're going to fade out of that scene. We're going to pick up with Vincent, who has arrived at the Brine Maiden. We see, unless there was any shenanigans you were doing along the way.
No, I'm not licking any hands in blood.
Okay. You sure?
Okay. You're missing out.
But yeah, I think I'm okay.
You're missing out.
Okay. There's a little judgment in that long. I'm just saying, you're the one who turned on your family. All right. You and Polonia and these two guards who were sent with you, you climb up. Captain Marr, which you've met before, steps up this sort of wiry figure. And see if I could do it. I haven't been able to do accents tonight. I don't know where they're at. It's like,
What are you doing back so soon? Is there a problem?
It's been a commotion at the last college. Headmaster's gone loose, blown up the place. But I've come with warning.
What kind of warning? Are
Seems
you
the remnants...
threatening to blow up our ship as well?
No, not at all. But there might be a threat to your ship. The remnants of the main Wallens. Or after Eliana.
Those fools.
And everyone just starts laughing and laughing.
The way I hear it, nary a single one of them put up a true fight. Except for the fella in the warehouse, that one.
And you can see behind there is this tall, bald, bosun-looking fella who looks really pissed off and sheepish. And for us, we recognize the exact same person that Chauncey managed to trick into hooking himself on one of these warehouse things here, reanimated and seemingly unharmed.
Well then, if that's the case, if they show up, are you going to be helping us fend off the mighty attack of these cowardly nobles?
He calls out.
That I can do.
I see. Well then, pull up a chair, my friend.
And you can see that on the deck there's these rickety chairs, and there's people playing like chess and such with these old like self-carved pieces. Others kind of start getting back to work at this point. Is there anything you want to do on the boat while you're here?
Captain Marr here, if he knows anything about our head captain. You familiar with him?
The captain? What do you mean? I'm the captain.
Of our last college, our headmaster.
No, they're not my headmaster. They hold no sovereignty over us here. We are fair partners, is what we are.
Do you know of him? Anything about him?
I've heard he... very old, older than us, it seems, and that magic has prolonged his life, and that perhaps the plateau lies opportunity for him to regain a form that he previously held. Beyond that, I know nothing.
Then I'm just like you. Know not much about him.
Well then, if he was the one making the beautiful lights on the other side of the fen, he sounds like a formidable foe. Let us hope we don't cross paths angrily then, and all of us here hold up our bombs and our oaths.
He kind of stares at you. You realize one of his eyes doesn't move, and you figure it's probably glass, but the other one is like staring deeply at you.
All these men you have on board, are you bound here too?
Am I bound here? Yes, I am, in a way. Have you not heard our story?
I've heard plenty from Ludovica.
Well, truth be told, the ancestor of the old woman in the below decks, he was once our commodore. We called him Sir. We followed him to the edge of the world. And he left us there and ran like the coward he is. The only way we could survive a hell on earth for eternity was to bind ourselves to a power that would protect us. However, we have grown weary of that pact and seek to renegotiate. And that is why we have allied with your college. That is long and short of it.
I'll pull up a chair, play some chess with these fellows.
Okay. So you're sitting there, you're playing here and there. And that's when, a little over time, you start hearing random croaks. This is killing me. All over the place. And you can see all around the ship in every direction, these blue orbs begin to light up. First 3 and then 10 and then 20 until they're 30. And you can see Captain Mar like suddenly kind of panics a little bit. Stations, boys! And everyone starts running around. You can see a few of them are kind of getting these old rusty crossbows up. Some of them are coming to the edge of the boat, and they're looking out to what is now a very brightly lit in this blue ethereal glow, this swamp. You hear the sounds of insects suddenly grow louder and louder. These huge swarms begin to descend on the ship in ways that seem unnatural. It seems as though all of the dead meat in all of Eversink is here, and the flies and the insects are coming for it. Vincent, what do you do as you start to see all of the ship begin to sort of panic and race?
I'll find a good spot for cover. See what's about to happen.
Okay. Meanwhile, out in the swamp, Fortuna and Chauncey, Solavita, Arkadiy, you're in your boat. You're hiding around. You see in the distance this other ship, and you see like these blue lights begin to start lighting up, and 10, 20, 30, maybe even 40 of these Chugat begin to sort of slowly drift closer and closer in this dark brackish water. They almost just look, because of the moss on their backs, like they're just part of the swamp. And you can see a few of those that have bows have climbed up into the trees, and even you, Arkadiy, occasionally are having trouble seeing them. Their camouflage is so perfect. And then there are others, including the one that exchanged that little bit of blood tasting with Fortuna, is lingering back with you at this point. What are the 4 of you doing as it looks like there is an assault that's beginning to encroach upon the Blind Maiden?
We must be there on the ship. We cannot trust them not to go after the matriarch. We must be part of the vanguard. I know we're tired and injured, but if we are to protect the family, if that is why we are here, we must be with them when they board the ship.
I agree. I think I'm just going to blatantly lie to them and tell them clearly that the Sorcerer's Cabal has betrayed them. They had no intent to help them. In fact, they intended to enslave them. And the swamp has turned upon them. And this is their only chance to save themselves.
That's actually a really good idea. I like that a lot. If not, I will definitely try to sneak on and unlock all of the doors for our matron to get out.
So let us stay low on the boat, and I will very gently paddle us in. Hopefully we will appear like nothing more than a log ourselves as we make our way.
Okay. So you all are laying low in this boat. As you approach, is that right? All of you are in the boat. And so I'll say, okay, so you're slowly creeping in, no lights, or are you just letting, okay.
And going by the blue lights.
Okay. Like there will be a point though where your ship, your boat will be detected. Like it's not even a situation like where it
once we get close enough that we can swim in, Arkadiy is going to go over the side and he'll swim in.
Yeah, you absolutely could do that. I would say like if you stayed in the boat, you will 100% be visible before you reach the edge of their boat. So
I just wanted the boat to be close enough that we could get the matriarch to it.
Okay. So maybe you set it up on like outside of that ring, that blue orb ring that they have used to encircle this ship in some ways. Okay. All right. So Arkadiy slips off into the water.
To spend preparedness if I need to help us with like we gathered some of these like in my head I have almost sort of like large lily pad type things here in the swamp, and like something that would sort of like help us be able to look just like they look as we're kind of like swimming to get closer into the boat.
Yeah, give me that preparedness test. Chauncey, you were interested in parlaying. Do you present yourself in the boat? Like, is everyone else getting out?
I think at some point, like after everybody else has done a thing, it's like it. Yeah, if you baffle them with bullshit when all else fails.
Okay. All right. How'd you do, Fortuna, with your preparedness roll?
So I have 2 left. Should I leave one in the bank for possibly something else, or just spend 1?
Might as well go for broke.
Okay, I'll spend both because we really want to sneak up. Okay, so I'm spending 2 and then rolling preparedness. So then that'll be a +2 to this result.
Okay.
4, so that's a 6.
All right. Excellent. Yeah. So you slip out of the water like Arkadiy, and you start doing some. You start slipping up in the water, kind of covered in this lily pad. You're just like all of the others, and you can see there's just this moss that's almost looks like you're all linked together. So it even looks even better now as it's just sort of slowly shifting. Doesn't look out of place at all. Solovita, are you doing the same?
Yes.
Okay.
My goal is to get on the ship quietly.
Okay, so Fortuna and Solovita and Arkadiy are stealthing up with this army of demon worshipping Shugat. Chauncey, you're in this small boat, and you push out across the divide, that ring of blue light, and you are absolutely visible. And you hear,
"Whoa there! Who are you, and why do you bring such strange lights?"
It is not I that have brought these strange lights. No, your partners have accursed you. They have done you wrong, and you know not how. I apologize for the wrongs done by the man called Falcone. I apologize for the ne'er-do-wells of the Main Wallens. What they have done to you is wrong. They seek to ruin your bargain. They seek to trick you. They only want to prolong their life. Their leader is a husk of a charred and burning man of untold ages. He seeks to sap the life from the swamp. And the greedy bastard he is, he seeks to sap the life from our matron. And, as if that weren't enough, he's going for the hat trick. He knows of your curse. Do you think he was going to free you? No! He wants to bind your very souls to his own! Do you not see it? Have you not seen the chaos? And I'm willing to spend 2 points of scurrilous rumors.
okay, couple things. So yeah, I'm going to take that. It's like, no problem. Spend that, and you're not immediately killed. And they're listening. Okay. But you hear a voice be like,
"Dranos, isn't that the one you fought in the warehouse?"
and you see coming to the edge of the boat, there's a very tall, bare-chested, bald man that you last saw with a hook in his jaw before he dissolved into salt. And he calls out,
"That's one of the main ones. He was a crafty one. He spins tales with his knives. He controls the very fortunes and fates. Don't listen to him, Captain. Don't listen to him."
And then you also see, stepping up next to who clearly is the captain, they have, the captain's saddle, is one of the sorcerers that you were fighting on the ship that maybe you aren't familiar with, but Polonio went with him. But before we resolve all the ridiculous luck spends and stuff, Vincent, you hear the sounds of Chauncey's voice. You hear him trying to concoct this tale. You see Polonia is like in the ear of the captain, trying to like persuade him otherwise. What are you doing, Vincent?
Shaking my head. Those fools are getting themselves killed. And I'll look maybe for a weak point in the ship where it's like not covered and kind of give them a signal in this direction.
Can I also point out something that is not going to help us at all? Chauncey, what jacket are you wearing right now?
I'm not sure.
What's your?
I'm not sure
if you have like one of your things.
One of your equipment items, one of your iconic items.
Oh my god, I do wear my great grandfather's old clothes. Oh god,
which
that's
is the
right.
guy that screwed them.
Wow.
I was waiting to see if anybody brought it up. Sorry, I just had to. I just had to.
And everything else, I forgot about
I just
that.
had to.
Yeah.
It's totally
close.
detrimental to us, but I had to. You just made this speech about how he was an asshole while wearing his jacket.
Okay. Oh my god, so much going on. All right. So
Really sorry.
Oh, that's good.
This is great. So Vincent, you are looking for like a spot. Everyone, you can definitely tell like the pirates have gone to stations, and many of them because they're alarmed. There's like there's huge swarms of insects swarming overhead, and people are like swinging at them with torches and such here and there. You can see others are smacking them. Even you're feeling them kind of bite and harass you a bit. And so there's a little bit of that going on. Nothing like full on attack, but it's abnormal, right? And then you can certainly see that others have taken up positions. They have like rusty crossbows and harpoons and things like that at the ready. And there's a few that are kind of eyeing out towards that blue ring and kind of trying to understand just what in the hell is going on. So I think you could probably find a place to be relatively unseen if that's your desire.
That's perfect.
Okay. And then Arkadiy and Fortuna and Solovita, you managed to slip up to the edge of the boat. When you look around, you notice that peeking their heads up are the Chugat, who very slowly and very quietly begin with clawed hands to start climbing up the sides of the boats. They are as stealthy as you like. It's shocking how quiet they are. What are the three of you doing?
Well, the same thing, I suppose. There's no ropes or stairs or anything.
And I would
like
say
that.
because, well, I would say this ship likely originated in Eversink, and as we have established, Eversink, like you have
Laws
to
and
have
tradition spend.
Yeah, so it's a thing. So there is a rusty old kind of like it's not the prettiest looking thing in the world, but there are some handholds and such that you could climb.
I will try to quietly climb them up.
Okay, so in Arkadiy and Fortuna, are you going in with, the Toad team?
Yeah.
Okay. So you are starting to climb up. Chauncey is just making one hell of a distraction as you suddenly hear like,
"What garb do you wear there? It looks curiously familiar."
It probably does belong to the man who's the piece of shit that betrayed you. But I'm a poor bastard from... what was it? Sagar? What's the name of the harbor again?
Sag Harbor is fine.
Sag Harbor.
Sag Harbor.
Yeah.
I'm just a poor bastard from Sag Harbor that took the chance to up jump when I could.
We've seen where you live. Poor is it's an unkind term for that place. There's great wealth. Are you trying to deceive us?
No, in fact, you can ask that large man right there. He was in my warehouse. Do you think the rest of those nobles spend their time doing an honest day's work? Good God, no. I'm terribly sorry, by the way, but you were very scary and very intimidating. I only did what I had to survive.
And so he looks down at you.
I could take you in a heartbeat in a fair fight.
I know, that's why I didn't do a fair
cowardly,
fight.
hiding, racing away like a scared child. Coward, just like Falcone was.
And you hear
Captain,
people
you
kind
have
of-
chosen an excellent bosun because he's the sort of man that would strike fear into a wretch like me.
And like the sorcerer is just like, Captain, if you would be so kind, I could eliminate him quite quickly, and we can move on with our lives and investigate these blue orbs. And he kind of turns to her, is like,
So be it. I am sorry there, son or grandson, great-grandson. Time is meaningless to us, you see, but your time upon this earth has come to a close.
and you can see like she is beginning to like go through some incantation, and right as she's about to release one of those little glowing like polyhedrals in your directions, all of a sudden from every direction these freaking toads just hop overboard, and you hear the sounds of like, "I intruded!" And suddenly on the deck of the Brine Maiden we have this massive fight between all of these large hunking toads that are sweeping and fighting, and some of them are casting spells. You hear the sounds of and these harpoons get thrown up from the shadows, and you see some of those orbs begin to, instead of hovering in place, they just collide and collapse and explode on the masts and on the sails, and you can see there's just blue flame and blue fire everywhere. It is utter pandemonium, and the sounds of insects are absolutely deafening. What does everybody do in this instance? As actually, I think Vincent, you're probably in the shit too, because you're on the deck, and so there might even be like some of these toads that are attacking you. There might be explosions next to you, so keep that in mind as everything goes absolutely crazy. So what is everyone doing in this particular moment, we're not going to go full initiative as there's a fight with all other stuff, but we're going to treat this more like a dramatic task kind of deal. I want everyone to kind of tell me what they're doing, how they're kind of contributing to this. Chauncey, we'll start with you. You were just about to die, and then all of a sudden, your ridiculous luck comes in so strong. What do you do?
See, I tried to warn you, but you wouldn't listen to me. You sided with that wretched woman, that horrible sorceress. The woman you have taken hostage for your partners. She is blessed by Buddha, and now the swamp comes to save her. The only chance to save yourselves. You think your fate now is terrible? Wait until those things drag you below. Your only chance is to let that woman free.
Okay, so you scream this out on like as loud as you can over top of which is now utter calamity on top of the boat. Give me a sway test.
All right.
Now let's see how this.
I have anything left I can spend. So I spent both my scurrilous rumor.
Are you done? You did the cash out the 5. Right?
Yeah.
Last episode.
I don't think I have anything left. No, I got nothing left.
Just roll a 6.
You just a 50. Yeah, it's 50-50 really if it's just 4.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, just click play and we'll really hope for it. Okay.
And he rolls a 6. Okay. You hear
Ridiculously lucky IRL.
So as like the captain turns and draws like a saber and is like fighting now what looks like this huge lumbering one of these Chugats, you can see the big bosun guy calls out to you and it's just like screaming down, "I'm gonna kill you!" Pulls back on this large harpoon that is about to throw it down on you when you can see one of the masts above catches fire, a rigging catches fire, the rope snaps, and you see this sweeping pendulum, and suddenly a hook just catches him right in the neck, lifts him completely off the boat, and he goes kind of flying around and pulled back up until he's hanging at this point. Fortuna, what are you doing in this particular situation?
Fortuna is just aghast at everything that's happening, and she is desperately beelining towards whatever would be a hatch, a door to get down below deck.
Athletics, stealth, these are things that you could potentially do. I think those could do it.
Okay. I will roll I think the only thing that I have left in any general is burglary, but burglary is specifically different from stealth. In description.
I mean, I would take burglary. Like, it's fine. I mean, in this case, you're breaking in and you're trying to steal something from them. So I think it's fine.
Okay. So I will do a...
Because now the rolls are turning. 6. Here we go. Okay, so that's another success. Okay. So Fortuna, you wait for the wave of these Chugat that just suddenly storm onto the deck at this point, and you slip in behind them, right? And like you're doing this sort of like waddling around because you have your own kind of waddle as you're moving and shifting and turning, and then like you see like a bolt will suddenly hit and splinter some wood next to you. Then all of a sudden there'll be a burst of blue flame, and it'll kind of catch on your hair, and you have to like swat it down really fast, and then you see the doorway. You're about to go to the below decks when you see coming up out of it is this big, swolly, heavily tattooed man. He's got this curved blade and he starts kind of screaming out, and he's about to charge at you. And then this harpoon comes over top of you. You look behind you, you can see one of those Chugats that were around by the deck, and they kind of like fall down, and you're able to just climb right over top of this dead man in the door and starts to sneak down below deck. Arkadiy, what do you do in this situation?
I mean, he's staying right at Fortuna's 6. He's guarding her to make sure she gets there because he knows that she has to be the one to save the matron and tell the matron that Altavina basically just wrote her off and took over the throne.
Okay. Again, stealth is fine. Athletics is fine. If there's something else you want to make a case for, that's fine too.
I've got nothing left in anything but warfare, so I'm just going to roll. I'm just going to rip a stealth here.
Okay.
And hope.
I mean, you could do warfare too and say you're slashing them down as you go. Like, I'm fine with that as well. We're doing this a little bit more cinematic as we're closing. We're at time, so I want to.
Okay, I'll spend 2 points of warfare and try that.
Yeah, absolutely.
7.
Oh my God, you rolled great too.
Hey.
7. So you're just yeah, so as Fortuna climbs over top and she races down, she's quickly like cut off by what looks like more of these scrawny looking pirates. You can see some of them are dripping wet. It seems they have this horrible briny sense to it. And right as it looks like they're about to attack you, all of a sudden Arkadiy just swirls around, gets one in the neck. Their head just kind of explodes at that point. He rips one out, stabs the other in the chest. They fall, and the two of you continue into the hold. Vincent,
Thank you, cousin.
what do you do?
I live to serve, dear cousin.
I'll dash to where Eliana's held up and avoid the skirmishes that are happening and post up there.
So athletics, stealth, any of that would work.
I'll do athletics.
Okay.
Spend 2.
Okay.
Got an 8 total.
5s and 6s. Nothing but 5s and 6s so far. Phenomenal, guys. All right, Vincent. I'll say what happens is Fortuna and Arkadiy, you cut down a few, and then you get to, like, you're looking, you open one door, nothing. Open the next door, nothing. Some doors don't even open at all. And then finally you see there's Vincent, and he's standing at the door to the room, Vincent, you would know goes into Eliana's chambers. And there you see, covered in blood, you can see some singe here and there on their clothes, covered in swamp water and moss is Arkadiy and Fortuna. You say anything?
Blessed Morana, it's so good to see you, cousin Vincent. I was afraid we'd lost you on the other ship.
What the hell have you guys risen? This is a mistake.
We must free the matriarch. We cannot allow this ritual to take... They are attempting to destroy the entire family. The very mansion falls around our cousins, our servants, all those who rely on us. Suffer. We must free the matriarch and return her to a rightful place.
I don't know about we.
You are part of family, cousin, your dearest friend for 5 years.
What are you talking about?
I've pledged my allegiance to the sources.
And Fortuna spits. And you will return with us. It matters not.
I don't know if I can.
Get out of my way. And Fortuna just like looks to move past Vincent to get into the room.
I won't let them stop me.
Arkadiy.
See what happens.
Okay. Vincent will step off to the side.
He would just lean into Vincent. Cousin, we will find a way around this. You are too important to me and to Chauncey. If nothing else, never forget Solavita also needs your guidance. The greater family is garbage. We all know this. But this core here, this is what the main Wallens will become. And we can only become that with you, dear cousin.
I hope you guys would rise, but I'll just let him pass for now. See if anything happens to me.
Okay. Speaking of Solavita, what is Solavita doing? How are you contributing to this task here?
What I was going to do, it seems like it's a busy corridor, so I am instead going to try to guard the door down that they've just gone and try to clear a path towards maybe a lifeboat that's on the ship that I can get into the water for.
Okay.
Eliana.
You'll notice that they do have, like on, we'll say the port side of the ship, they do have what looks like a small boat, like in rigging. Some of that rigging is on fire.
I'm going to burgle that boat from them.
Okay. Give me a burglary test and you can see if you can drop this boat straight down into the water.
I know we've been rolling well. I'm about to break that, so I'm just going to add a +4 to this.
Have some faith. Have some faith.
I refuse.
That's a 4. That's still fantastic. So 8 total. Okay.
Nice.
All right. So you can see that the riggings that's kind of holding this boat hanging up is already kind of caught on fire. You're constantly having to duck under this, swat away some insects here and there, and you're able to quickly kind of cut or unwind some of the rope itself, and it falls and splashes down into the water. And you can see that it's right kind of and right next to you, I'll even say with your great roll, you can even see there's like a rope ladder that you can throw over if you really wanted as well. Okay.
I will do such a thing.
So back in the room, Fortuna, you throw the door open, and there you see, like huddled in the corner, like you've always seen her. She's always kind of seen miles away, and very grandiose, very done up, tons of makeup, tons of fancy clothes. But here you see a kind of a shriveled old woman. She's like, "Hello, who's there? Who's there?"
Eliana, it is Fortuna.
Fortuna. Oh, gracious Fortuna. Oh, please help me. Please. Oh,
And she's like reaching out a hand at this point.
Of course. And she takes off a shawl and are you bound? Are you bound? Can you arise?
Yes, I can move. And you just hear the sudden explosion above, and like the deck kind of shatters a bit, and you can see a splinter of wood fall down into the middle of the room. Blue flame starting to disperse. Like, oh goodness gracious! And she reaches out and kind of clutches at your arm, and you can feel these gnarled but very surprisingly strong hands just grip around you. Arkadiy, you see, like, she's got this. Her face looks terrified, but she looks older than you all have ever seen her before. She looks like she's aged a decade or two since you've last seen her. Some of her makeup has started to fade as well. So whether that's it or whether there's something more unclear. Okay.
We've come to rescue you. Come, Arkadiy and Chauncey and Solavita. We are all here to rescue you and bring you home.
And she's like, okay. And then right at that moment, you look out what looks like a window. You see a rope ladder just right down the outside of the window. Like, you can see just the bit of it go. And as you peek out the window, you can see that there is a boat literally below the window that you're standing in right now, as this room is beginning to fill with this blue flame. And she's like, help me. Vincent was here too, but he left me. Oh, he left me, she calls out. What do you do?
Never fear, great aunt. We'll get you out. And Arkadiy will use his blades to shatter the window and grab the rope, bring it in, and tie her to it, and then help lower her down to the boat.
And you just see this. She's just like standing there, like she's being tailored, but it's no issue. She's not resisting, but she's also not helping at the same time. And you wrap this boat, and you're able to begin to lower her down. Okay. Chauncey, you are just seeing absolute pandemonium happen. It looks like they haven't been paying attention to you anymore. The one guy that you see is just sort of swaying up there from the hook that he was caught on. Everything else, like the entire ship is kind of caught on blue flame, and you can see the sorcerer up there is kind of casting spells left and right. You see like a toad suddenly like burst into like 1,000 pieces and just kind of flies off into the wind. And then you can see some from behind you. They're like launching these orbs, these blue orbs, and they smash against the ship, and you can see this scattering of blue flame. Chauncey, what do you do at this point?
I was given a crossbow earlier.
You were.
I don't think I'm going to be able to talk down that sorceress at this point. I think I should do the unlikely thing and shoot her with a crossbow.
Give me a quick warfare roll, and then I'm going to wind this down. Yeah.
What?
Jesus. With a 6. Distracted. Surrounded by toads and pirates. She's not looking, and all of a sudden the shot goes off, and you can see as like the body of that big man you've hit before is suddenly swaying. It like kind of hits his boot and redirects like right down and right into the side of her head, and you can see she just suddenly gets stunned and is moving around and then collapses. You can't see what's happened to her. Meanwhile, Solavita, as you are like looking down, you can see suddenly there is Eliana, your old great grandmother, being lowered down. You see the head of Arkadiy, and he's there kind of helping her down, the bald head kind of shining some of the light above. And you can see that on the other side of the ship, once more from Chauncey, you all are kind of lowering down and away from your matriarch. What do you want to do?
She will sort of grab the rope ladder and slide halfway down, sort of sticking a boot onto this windowsill next to Arkadiy's head. Some warning would have been nice next time, cousin. And she's going to then keep sliding down so that she can hold the boat and help Eliana as she is lowered down.
And you
come now, great aunt.
Solavita, is that you? Oh, thank you, sweet. You're such a good girl.
Yes.
I knew it. Yeah, I always said you were so very smart. So
Yes, okay, hugging. Okay, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep. And so like she's like kind of peeking, like, pinching your cheeks, and she's being like very grandmotherly. Probably never had this kind of affection from her before.
It's very weird.
She flops down. And then what about the rest of you that are in the room that just left her, like Fortuna and Vincent and Arkadiy? You look down, you see Solavita has secured Eliana in the skiff. Explosions happening above you. What do you do?
I can't go with you, Arkadiy. You'll have to make it look like I tried to stop you at least. I'll bear.
You should have, cousin.
I'm sure. And I'll bear myself for that. Just a nice little hit from Arkadiy.
Okay. First, Arkadiy just sort of leans in and puts his forehead against Vincent's forehead and just says, cousin, dear cousin, find your way back home. To us. To Chauncey. To Solavita. To Fortuna. To myself. Your home is with us. Now, look over there. And then he just uppercuts him as hard as he can.
And the last thing we see is like Vincent like collapsing down into this room. You probably slide him away from the flame so he doesn't get caught up in it. But the last thing we see is like, Fortuna, are you climbing down as well?
Yes. Fortuna would have turned around like she was going to try to command, and then saw that Arkadiy sort of had this covered. And so then Fortuna looks to see Solavita help her down once she's done helping Eliana.
Yes, I got the ladder. Come on.
We see Fortuna and Solavita in the boat with Eliana. Arkadiy, you start to climb down. You just see the last of Vincent, like in the hallway away from the flames, the blue glow off his like his legs a bit. And then you climb down into the boat as well. And then again, I would imagine quickly start rowing away. Chauncey, at a certain point, I think your ridiculous luck spend of 2, you do notice out of the corner of your eye, there goes another small boat kind of just starting to drift away, and out of that ring of blue, you see like Solavita kind of waving at you. What do you do? You start just rolling. Just watch the big heavy guys continuing to sway, just randomly knocking one pirate or 2 completely off the ship, and you just sway away. And the last thing we see are these 2 boats, Chauncey rowing one, Arkadiy the other, Solavita and Fortuna right flanking the sides of Eliana. We see the blue flame of the Blind Maiden just burning into the night in the swampy night sky. We hear the sounds of croaks going crazy. And we don't see Vincent in either boat. And that's where we're going to go ahead and end it right there. Okay.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
There you go. All right.
Wow. Our dice luck swung.
You guys turned
swung very much the other way.
So bad.
Big time. Yeah. Big time. Yeah. That was such an interesting tactic to suddenly get the Chugat on your side and command them, invoking Borda. That was really, really smart. I didn't think that they were going to be allies. I thought they were going to like be a wild card that attacks you here or there, but pretty clever. However, you just made a blood pact with them, so I don't know. I mean, that's okay. You for a bit.
What's the worst that could happen?
That's probably what they said when they first made a blood pact with Borda many, many, many years ago. So yeah, okay,
yeah.
All right,
we did what we had to do to get.
You got her. You saved her.
Yeah.
So epic. 2 different boats and all of the stuff.
Absolutely fun. Okay. So let's go ahead. We're over. So let's get out of here. Let's do some quick plugs and then we'll get out of here. Aaron, what do you got going on over at Garblag?
What do we have going on? On Tuesday, Pete at 12 o'clock Pacific Standard Time over on the Garblag YouTube channel. We'll be running something next week. Still to be determined. But next Thursday, you can come back and find Ben as the Master of Ceremonies as we dive into some Metro Otherscape. And I fortunately get to play in that one. So should be a lot of fun. I can't wait.
Awesome. As for us, what do we got going on? First, let's talk about Huckleberry. Our dear friend Steven's making a game, cinematic action horror. HuckleberryRPG.com just put out a really big update the last week or so for his quick start, so you can take a look at that. And more updates are coming in a backer kit for a full proper version later this year. So hop on our Discord. You can see some chats and talk about it and kind of go take a peek. In terms of streaming, tomorrow night as our next game, we got some Magnus Archives. Steven that I just mentioned is going to be running us through that. Saturday, we're back to Call of Cthulhu. We've been off for a little while playing some Han Cluster, but we are back. And we'll see how long that they last with the next one, because they nearly got destroyed in Bangkok. So let's see what the next location is like. Monday, I don't really know. We're kind of up in the air right now on Monday, but Tuesday you can see Kipser running us through some Perils and Princesses. And then Thursday next week, we've got more Swords of the Serpentine. We'll see just what's next. But that's it for us. Let's go ahead and raid 20 sides to every story. So follow that raid. Have a great rest of your night. We'll see y'all later. Bye-bye.
See ya.
Arrivederci.